You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
I'm back. Rodgers for our Black and White Sports 2. Well, we're going to talk about Aaron Rodgers. You guys know one of the things we cover a lot on this channel is Aaron Rodgers and the Packers and sort of what is transpiring in this season. We're seeing Aaron Rodgers with only a 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio hit rock bottom this past week with a loss to the Detroit Lions. The Packers are 3-6. Their wide receiving core is very lacking. We've seen Aaron Rodgers throw his teammates under the bus and then drive the bus back over them. And it's just a dumpster fire for the Packers. And I think we're all sitting back, or we were sitting back even, let's say, 2 weeks ago, thinking, well, the Buccaneers and the Packers, they're just going to figure it out and start dropping 30 every week, right? It just hasn't happened. And Aaron Rodgers has struggled. The whole team has struggled. And they got a lack of weapons. That's not on Rodgers. But Rodgers has made some very puzzling statements. Let's put it that way. Well, one of the things that Aaron Rodgers was really promoting in the off-season was ayahuasca, okay? This plant or something that he uses, for lack of a better way of putting it, to get high off of. It's supposed to be natural. I don't know. I don't know shit about it, so don't start giving me a lesson about it in the comments section, okay? Well, last night or night before last, Robert Griffin III made some interesting comments about Aaron Rodgers and his use of ayahuasca. And, of course, Robert Griffin III played in the NFL, started out like, a house on fire as a rookie, and then some speculate that Mike Shanahan might have ruined RG3's career after that knee injury because he just was never the same quarterback. He was an all-world quarterback at Baylor, and we all remember that. Well, he has come out and made some very interesting comments about the fact that, frankly, maybe Aaron Rodgers is getting high too much. I find that kind of interesting. He's just coming out and saying maybe his ayahuasca use is actually clouding into his play as a quarterback on the field, and it's causing him to not be able to focus on the job at hand. I would bet, this is just a guess, I would bet Aaron Rodgers would say it actually helps him focus more or calms him down. I don't know. But I saw these comments and was like, well, that's an interesting way to go. And it's an interesting theory. This is Outkick. Former NFL quarterback Robert Griffin III is sensing a chemical imbalance with Aaron Rodgers, who's not so locked, but very loaded. Commenting on the Green Bay Packers' 3-6 start, led by a mostly uninspired Rodgers this season, RG3 blames A-Rod's past use of ayahuasca for the subpar campaign, advising the QB to get his head out of the clouds and drop the mystical juice. Quote, in order for the Packers to dig themselves out of this hole, they need the best version of Aaron Rodgers, RG3 said on ESPN's broadcast Monday night, ahead of the Ravens and Saints matchup. Quote, right now that ayahuasca seems like it has him in a completely different world. Let's listen.
Yeah, Steve, I'll go so far as to say that Rodgers allowed his frustration with the rest of the roster and the rest of the guys around him to bleed into his own play. To your point, you said, hey, who's going to hit him in the back of the head? No one's going to hit him in the back of the head in Green Bay and tell him anything. So Rodgers has to take accountability and take ownership in his next press conference and simply say, I wasn't good enough in that moment, and I need to be better for my teammates, because in order for them to dig themselves out of this hole, they need the best version of Aaron Rodgers. And right now, that ayahuasca seems like it has him in a completely different world.
I mean, I don't know how much of that can be a correlation, but it's an interesting point to bring up, regardless of how you may feel about, about that kind of use or whatever. Regardless of what you think it might do for Aaron Rodgers or don't, he seems to claim like it probably makes him a better quarterback. But it is an interesting thing to just have brought up And it's something that nobody is talking about here. In past seasons, Rodgers has cranked up his free spirit, dabbling with psychedelics and bohemian babes. He has hit surprising lows this season, including a loss to the Lions in Week 9, struggling with interceptions. Through 9 games, he's got 2,091 passing yards, 14 TDs, 7 picks, and a 64.7 completion percentage. I mean, all of his numbers are a dumpster fire, but look, ayahuasca aside, there's one thing that I can honestly say about this Packers team. They missed Davante Adams in a way that I don't think they even thought was possible. Okay? He is an absolute stud wide receiver. And look, I think Davante Adams misses Aaron Rodgers too. If you want to know the truth, because that Raiders team looks not so good. And we thought they might actually put up some real points. They're coming into a stretch of the schedule where they might win some games, but for them to get beat by the Jags like they did, that's another lifeless franchise right now. I'm shocked. I really am. But you get the point. It was far and away his best weapon on offense. And I think you're seeing right now how much Aaron Rodgers needed Davante Adams. And look, the Packers can bring up Chase Claypool and all this, but if you wanted Chase Claypool, then you got to go out there like the 49ers did with Christian McCaffrey, and you've got to get that guy. You just got to outbid everybody else for Chase Claypool if that's who you wanted. You know, there's speculation that they tried to get Darren Waller, and we don't know. But I saw this and I was like, that is an interesting thing to bring up. Could Aaron Rodgers' ayahuasca use actually be causing an issue with his play on the field? I don't know. I don't know if there's a correlation there, but it's worth bringing up. It absolutely is, I think. I don't think you can keep anything off the table with what's going on because, I mean, he just came off 2 back-to-back MVP seasons, and I understand when quarterbacks sort of get old, all of a sudden they fall off a cliff. Like, literally, they go from being really good to, generally speaking, throwing ducks, and it's like a dumpster fire out there. Now, he hasn't been that kind of bad, and at 38 and the condition he's in, I just cannot imagine that he's already hit the age wall. It's possible, but there's another scenario to think about in all this as well. You know, he talked about retirement. Okay, and maybe hanging it up. And famously, Michael Irvin, one of my favorite players, once said, once you start talking about retirement in the NFL, then you're sort of retired. In other words, your head is not in the space it needs to be in to fully commit to your team and being the best product you can be on the field. That's an old quote, but it's always stuck in my head when guys start aging and performance starts fading a little bit. But again, I just kind of wonder, I understand what RG3 is saying here, but I'm just kind of like, let's not outthink the room here and not realize Davante Adams was a massive loss for this team. Okay, and Green Bay just refuses to get Aaron weapons. He really does. So, do you think Aaron Rodgers would curb his ayahuasca use? Do you think it would help? Do you think he needs to do more ayahuasca? Maybe during halftime? Tell me in the comments section. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.